Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel news bulletin, broadcast from Jerusalem. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump held a meeting which both leaders described as excellent. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps launches a surprise attack against U.S. forces stationed in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. And the United States and Saudi Arabia launch a joint aerial strike against Iranian-proxies in Iraq. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met yesterday with U.S. President Donald Trump at the Oval Office in the White House. The meeting lasted roughly an hour and a half and did not include a private one-on-one meeting between the two leaders. Rather, it was attended by President Trump's top administration officials and Prime Minister Netanyahu's senior staff. It is worth noting that Prime Minister Netanyahu shared with President Trump intelligence not only about Pickaxe Mountain, as was reported in a number of American newspapers, but also about other Iranian activity, to include the Iranian nuclear program. Israeli defense officials said in recent days that the focus on Pickaxe Mountain was excessive and that they were skeptical about reports as if the Iranians had moved thousands of advanced centrifuges to the site. They added that the facility at Pickaxe Mountain might be impervious to airstrikes, even if heavy American bombers were to be used to attack the site. Meanwhile, following the meeting, Prime Minister Netanyahu asserted that the meeting included one of the best discussions he had had with President Trump and his team.
I have concluded an excellent meeting with President Trump. When I say excellent, it is rhetoric. It was a conversation in full cooperation, joint support, the understanding of our joint objective to ensure that Iran does not attain nuclear weapons, and also additional objectives. One of the best discussions I had held with the President of the United States, our friend Donald Trump. His entire most senior team was present, our senior team, and also here. We had the opportunity to exchange thoughts and also to coordinate important positions vis-a-vis security and the future of the State of Israel. I am heading from here, together with my wife Sarah, to the funeral ceremony of our great friend, Lindsey Graham. I'm certain that I represent here all of the citizens of Israel.
Meanwhile, at the National Cathedral, America's leadership from the different branches of government were joined by a number of world leaders, to include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to mourn the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, who was a staunch supporter of the United States' support for the defense of Western civilization at large, to include specifically Ukraine and the State of Israel.
Our nation needs more men and women like that great person sitting, laying, wherever he may be. I think I know where he is, and I think he's up there. I think he's watching us. I'm pretty sure of it. Scripture tells us that blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. For 71 years, Lindsey Graham was strong and steadfast. As a brother, a senator, a warrior, and a patriot, he withstood every last test, every single test that you can go through and every trial. And now he wears the crown of life in heaven, reunited with his parents and reunited with his Lord.
Among those eulogizing Senator Graham, Fox News host Sean Hannity seized the public stage to highlight the unique relationship of Senator Lindsey Graham and the State of Israel.
I see Prime Minister Netanyahu is here. Mr. Prime Minister, you too have been a dear friend of mine for 30 years. It's an honor to have you. And Lindsey would have been blown away that you took this long journey with your beautiful bride to be here today. He loved you. He loved the State of Israel. He loved the people of Israel. Under your leadership, Israel has been one of America's most consistent and loyal allies. He was never shy to say it, to the day he passed. And just as President Trump has been Israel's strongest friend in the history of the White House, You know, the two partners aligned together. Lindsey was that friend to Israel in the United States Senate, as long as I've known this man. Lindsey, he was often unfairly characterized as a warmonger. I've heard that false criticism a lot. It's not true. The truth was the opposite. Lindsey desperately wanted and talked to the president about a lasting peace in the Middle East. He wanted every region, every country in the region on that path to peace. That was Lindsey's dream, if people would only listen to what he had been saying. His greatest gift in life, from my perspective, was Lindsey had moral clarity. He understood right from wrong, good from evil. And he knew, as President Trump knows, as Israel knows, as I know, there can be no path to peace until evil is defeated. Evil, in this case, embodied in a death cult, an ideology, the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Almost 2 hours after the funeral ceremony of Senator Graham, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps attempted to conduct a surprise attack against U.S. forces stationed at the Jordanian Muwafaq Salti air base in the Hashemite Kingdom by launching 4 ballistic missiles. According to U.S. Central Command, all Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted. It further stressed that U.S. forces remain vigilant at a high state of readiness. Separately, U.S. Central Command also made a joint announcement with the Saudi Arabian Armed Forces that in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours alone that were directed against U.S. forces and Saudi energy infrastructure, both U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorist logistics and weapon sites across eastern Iraq. CENTCOM stressed that the unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful, while further emphasizing that the IRGC and its terror proxies must seize these attacks to avoid further U.S. military response. Meanwhile, in Iraq, more than 20 members of the Iranian-proxies of Hashd-e-Shabi were reportedly eliminated by the joint U.S.-Saudi strikes, with mourners gathering in front of the morgues there, chanting "Death to America," among other pro-Ayatollah regime slogans.
Death to America.
Turning to Tehran, where Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi revealed that in talks with the Sultanate of Oman, the Ayatollah regime has proposed an arrangement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, under which one direction of traffic would pass thoroughly through Iranian waters, and part of the opposite route would also go through Iranian waters in a defined push by the terror regime in Tehran to assert Iranian sovereignty over the international waterway. Moreover, the Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister threatened that any rejection by the Sultanate of Oman to the Iranian proposal would mean the permanent closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
Proposal is on the table. If they accept it, we'll see what happens in the next steps. If they do not accept it, then the Strait of Hormuz, although I should also point out that these negotiations taking place with Oman are being conducted while the strait remains closed. So, the Islamic Republic is not simply turning a blind eye and saying, let traffic pass through the southern route. No. Oman and even other parties that are in contact with us, including some mediators, have insisted, saying, at least allow vessels to use this route while you work out your understandings. Our answer is absolutely not. We do not recognize the southern route, not even for a single hour.
Amid back-channel discussions about European navies taking an active role in clearing the Strait of Hormuz from any mines planted there by the IRGC, the Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister warned that if any such naval vessel approaches, they would be considered by the IRGC legitimate targets.
We told them explicitly that under no circumstances are they permitted to do so. We said that if any warships approach the Strait of Hormuz for this purpose, or if they bring equipment or any vessel or any other assets for mine-clearing operations near the Strait of Hormuz, they will be considered legitimate targets by the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Meanwhile, following President Donald Trump's announced intention to use Iranian frozen funds to compensate shipping companies that were struck by the IRGC while transiting the Strait of Hormuz, the IRGC has now leveled a scathing threat to any shipping company or country that would accept President Trump's proposal.
ضمن هشدار به رئیس جمهور جنایتکار آمریکا
While warning the criminal president of the United States about the consequences of this illegal action, we hereby announce to all companies and countries that welcome Trump's proposal and make use of Iran's frozen assets under this pretext that, from this point forward, the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will not permit any of their vessels to transit the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's threats have evidently not impressed President Trump, who announced earlier today that the United States will conduct heavy strikes against the Ayatollah regime in response, among others, to the blatant surprise attack against U.S. forces stationed in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, which is made possible by the generosity of our viewers. If you would like to help support TV7 Israel, you can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.